Welcome to Overtime on Inferno, your weekly roundup of all the biggest stories in CSGO, quicker than mouse can disappoint us for the 17th time in the last 3 years. Yeah, if you could rate and review us by the end of the episode, it really help us. I'm Logan, this is Aizyesque. Let's get into it. The major.
The major's here, man. Then all the ensuing chaos that comes with it.
Okay, so I have one bit of thing I need to get out before we start talking about the major, okay? Which is, I understand that the major is at a perfect time every year, because just feels like a good time to me. I don't know why, but like 5 months into the year, this feels like a good time for the major. I have a problem, though.
Everything else is on.
Yeah, can Valve fucking talk with Riot and Rainbow Six and just everyone else and just say, hey, can we all make these on different dates? Because the Dota Major just finished, right?
Yep.
Literally
finished Sunday,
yeah, Dota Major finished Sunday. Major started Monday. MSI started last Monday. So I'm like watching 17 screens at once just so I can watch the esports I care about, because otherwise I can't do it.
Not only that, there's also the Champions League semi-finals. There was one last night, one tonight. As we're
the NBA playoffs are going.
NBA playoffs is on. Like, spread it out, please. I'm begging you.
Can you turn down the gain? Yeah, you're real high.
I don't know why it's like that. Is that better?
Yes, considerably. Thank you.
I could probably just talk a little bit quiet. No, like, just spread it out, please, because this is just ridiculous. Like, I'd like to be able to watch things every week for the rest of the year instead of watching 4 things a day right now. It's literally, I wake up, the major is on, MSI is on, then there's there's the Champions League semi-final tonight. At some point I've got to go to the gym. I'm writing up pieces for the major. I have no time, and then it gets to like midnight, and then this NBA is on, and I'm like,
I work exhausted. A full-time job, as many people are aware, and I normally start at 8:45 in the morning, and I work till like 4:35 p.m. Right? I've actually shifted my working hours to 8 a.m. because I'm waking up anyway, because there's so much fucking shit going on.
It's crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy.
So I start work 45 minutes earlier because I'm up watching MSI, which is 8 a.m. is when the MSI Best of 5 start. So I'm up watching it anyway.
I know 2 photographers who are working. One of them's working at Blast. One of them lives in Paris anyway. Who were working in Berlin as well for ESL for the Dota Major. Who the day after it finishes just go straight from Berlin to Paris. Same fucking suitcase, loads of luggage. Just like, this isn't freelance life is mental anyway. Because 50% of the time you have nothing to do. The other 50% you wonder if it's ever going to stop. And it's like, that's just crazy. Like, they're just going back to back, just in different countries. Like, they just don't see their family. And it's like, at least for me, I get 3 days between Berlin and Paris. I go to Paris on Friday. So,
yeah. So that's my esports rant of the week.
Yeah.
Just fucking like, I understand you all want your times, but I guarantee there are less viewers of the CS:GO Major because there are people watching MSI.
Yep.
And I guarantee there are people who have had to say, I can only watch one. I'm choosing X.
Yeah. And then the player break is in the summer when I'm pretty sure League of Legends is on a break. And the football season isn't on. And the NBA playoffs are going to come to an end. Like, could we not
just shift a little bit? Like, I understand why, and I get it. But also, no, just...
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Valve are Canadian, right? So they don't care.
No,
they don't give a shit about
Seattle, America.
Oh, okay, right. They're American, so they don't give a shit about the Champions League. Fine, but
still, they give
doing it
NBA
back to back with the Dota Major is kind of mad.
Back to back with the Dota Major and the NBA Finals, and even if they don't care about like League of Legends, you have to see that.
You have to know that.
Like, you have to understand that MSI is like here and going on, right? Like, think of how many cities right now, and normally we have like 1 or 2 esports event going on at a time, right? Like, it's not that big of a deal, or like they're spread out. Right now in Europe, I believe there's a Copenhagen Rainbow Six event.
Yeah,
there was Berlin for Dota, London for MSI, and Paris for Counter-Strike, all happening at the same time.
Yeah, or at least some overlap. Yeah, it's
Monday.
mental.
I think Monday last week there would have been people at every single one of those. I think the only like stipulation would have been MSI. Like it would have been teardown for Dota and like the off day for MSI. But still, like,
yeah,
it's stupid. Okay, let's get into the actual major now. It's happening. It's in Paris.
We definitely don't want to talk about MSI.
We do, but just not on this podcast.
We definitely don't.
Okay, so let's start. So we came through with some predictions ahead of this. They were all wrong. Okay, actually half of them were wrong.
I think on this podcast I said you should put ENCE 3-0 and then I put Gamer Legion 3-0.
Yeah, so I think both of us agreed that ENCE could definitely go through 3-0, and I was really on the FORZE 3-0 train. Wrong on that. You ended up going with the Gamer Legion 3-0 train. Wrong on that.
Yeah, but I'm like wrong in a way that I'm not too unhappy about, because Gamer Legion still do look pretty good. They just haven't gone 3-0. It's not like I've completely missed the mark. They're not terrible.
Yeah. I'm actually super excited. We've got some banger matches coming up. And we'll be here to talk about them right now.
We've had some banger matches already.
Yeah.
I'm still upset that Liquid didn't 16-0 complexity.
All right, we've got 16 teams to go through. Let's go through them quick. So we are recording Wednesday before the finish of the best of threes in the 2-1 bracket. Yeah. Okay, so that means Apeks is just getting onto their second map right now against Pain Gaming, and Grayhound and NIP have yet to play. They play in like 20 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
It's nothing ridiculous. So the only matches by the end of this podcast that shouldn't be done are the 2-2 matches, which will be on Thursday, the day this podcast comes out. And we'll know what they are by the end of this podcast because we can do some general idea smithing, etc. Yeah. So we'll give you ideas of what to expect for those. So let's start from the top. Monte. They lost 16-14 to FaZe in the first round. They won against Fluxo 16-8 in the 0-1 match, then lost to FORZE in the 1-1 match, and then won against the Mongolz 2-0 in the 1-2 match. They will play in the 2-2s on Thursday.
Yeah.
This is a team that a lot of people had a lot of hype coming into for, including us, actually, especially us. We were very high on this team.
Yeah, Monte, they're fun, and they're still good. Like, Boros is still insane. Like, he's... And in they won... the last game they won, they just... To get to the 2-2 bracket, Boros was just unstoppable. Like, he is too good for the Tier 2 teams at this event. He might be too good for some of the Tier 1 teams, depending on what you class as Tier 1. Like, he's...
If you class Mouse as Tier 1.
If you class... Yeah, quite. If you class OG as Tier 1. If you're classing... Team Liquid is Team 1. Like, if Monty played Team Liquid, it's a scary one for Team Liquid.
They won't tomorrow, but
okay. I haven't looked at the possible matchups yet.
Oh, I have, because I've been trying to see if we can get one. We'll talk about it.
I prefer to just live in the moment and embrace chaos.
So yeah,
I don't even find out what game is on until I turn the stream on.
Boros has been on a tear recently. It's the Boros show. I have like what else is he fucking
He's so fucking good, man. Like, he's so good.
My favorite.
Actually, there is something else to talk about with Monty. I don't know if you saw their social media.
Yeah. Okay. So I gotta find us that to give the proper context. But it was something along the lines of like Jerry called out
DemQQ saying, "Oh, no more radar hacks" or something.
Yeah. So DemQQ used to be on the Akuma team, who was during COVID. It was like they were like seen to look at another monitor, which the thought was there's a radar on that monitor.
Yeah.
Because like, why else would you fucking be looking at the other monitor mid round and shit? And so Jerry said, "Good game. We're in the 2-1 pool. I think the time of the radar from Akuma has gone, right, DemQQ?" And Dem replied, "I think you have to write on RMR. I think you have to write on RMRs. I forgot you put your mouth in your ass, right?"
Yeah.
Which
incredibly Russian. Incredibly Eastern European insult.
Yeah. And then the Monty team replied to something somewhere. I don't fucking know where.
They just responded to them QQ backing him up.
Yeah, so it's the tweet is deleted, but we have a screenshot because we don't let anything go on the internet, which just said like in Putin's asshole because it's in their blood to lick the Tsar ass, which is just.
It's just insane. But also, my favorite bit is somebody responded to them like, "This is a bit unprofessional," and they just said, "So." Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Can't argue with that.
I'm in. So yeah,
this is a bit unprofessional. Yeah, and
that's the important bit to talk about with Monty. They're in the 2-2 bracket. They'll be playing. I think I don't know. It's not confirmed that they will play Pain, but I think in most scenarios, actually, they're totally up for it. They could play Apeks, Pain, or Team Liquid.
Monty Team Liquid is spicy, man. Like Team Liquid,
there's another match.
Soft on the belly, man.
We'll get through this. All right, we got 15 more teams. All right, FaZe. They have gone through at 3-1 as of like an hour ago.
FaZe are very good at best of ones again.
One against Monty, one against Pain, lost to ENCE, who was a 3-0 team, 3 maps, and then one against FORZE.
Yep.
This is kind of what I expected from FaZe. I don't think I don't trust FaZe enough to go 3-0. I think we said that. I trust FaZe to go 3-1.
I will say they almost did a massive choke against FORZE.
Yeah, no, that was...
It was like 15-3 or something.
Yeah,
and it finished 15-12 or 16-12 or 16-13. It was getting sketchy.
It wasn't great. I'd be willing to say.
Yeah.
All right. Next, Pain is someone we need to spend a little bit more time on.
Yeah. There's teams about as good as I thought they were,
which is better than I thought they were.
Yeah,
by considerable margin. So
I had some faith in Pain. They've been in decent form since Biguzera's taken over the in-game leading duties. I kind of thought they were probably the second best, like America's team. They might just be the best.
We'll get on that. Hold your horses on that.
They might be. They're probably not, but they might be.
Yeah. So they did okay for themselves, right? They beat 2 teams that are both out of the major already. So they beat Fluxo in the first round, who was. We'll talk about Fluxo very quickly right now. They were bad. They went out 0-3. That's all I have to say. They weren't
great, but they also great. Like I don't think they were as bad. Like they were bad against Pain, but they in their like 0-2 game they didn't look that bad.
Yeah,
as bad as people were saying.
Yeah, no, they weren't that bad, but in the best of 3, but they were not great in the best of 1. So
they got 16-1 by Pain on Mirage in RMR. No. In the RMR they got 16-1 on Mirage, and then they picked it again against them. They got 16-2.
Improvement.
It's just why would you pick it again?
So Pain won against Fluxo, lost to FaZe Clan, who we've already said very good at best of 1s. They won against Complexity in the 1-1 match. Pretty convincingly, like real good match. And then they played they're playing currently against Apeks. They lost map 1, so we'll see where that leads up.
I think Apeks are probably better than them. I think Apeks are actually pretty good.
We'll talk about my stupidity with Apeks in a little bit. So G2, next team on the list, they went 3-0.
Very good. Yeah, very good. Monacy is the chosen one, man. He's him.
He is.
He's going to do it. I think I said like a few months ago, like I feel like G2. I feel like Monacy has to win a major in Counter-Strike in CS:GO. This is his last chance. He looks like he's going to win one. He looks so good. He's him and JKS, man.
Which is good. I love JKS. I want to see JKS do well. Yeah. All right. Next team on the list, we're gonna the next block of teams is gonna have some more conversation around. So we'll get to them in a second. Mongolz is the next team on the list.
Yeah, about as good as I expected. Maybe slightly better, honestly. Hashtag just looks like a downgrade on score.
Yeah, I don't understand why they did that move. I assume it was something locker room related, but
they said that they thought people didn't realize how good Hashtag was. And it turns out I think they just didn't realize how good Hashtag was.
I realized exactly how good Hashtag was.
Yeah.
But
Score's good, but I'm not sure score is that good. I think the problem is people see what the Mongols did last time and think that that is their level. But I think they won so many clutches when they were winning these upsets. I think they would have fallen to this level regardless, and people will put it on Azteca. But I actually think this is about their level.
I think that Blitz is really, really good. And I
Blitz
think
and Techno are very good.
Blitz and Techno are really, really good. And I think Bartak and Azteca is definitely worse than Bartak, but I think Bartak is like solid.
No. Bartak is bad. Bartak's not good.
I think he's okay.
Yeah, I don't rate Bartak. It's a shame because he's got a great name.
The problem I have here with this team, and it's not really a problem, it's just their win condition is Annihilation. If Annihilation shows, great. You now have 3 people that are really good enough to actually like really compete. If Annihilation doesn't show, you just don't have enough firepower.
Yeah, and I'm just not convinced he's actually that good.
It seems to waver game by game by game.
Yeah, I think when we had Tea Time and Yumi on, they basically said like Annihilation isn't seen as a particularly good AWPer even domestically. Like he's not seen as the best AWPer in the region or even close to it. So it's like it's kind of worrying when you're going up against international competition and you're up against genuinely good AWPers. Like even the tier 2 teams, Acor. He's a really good AWPer. Like these all have destructive AWPers. Nork has been very good at this event. Like I'm glad to see him playing back. Like even these, like Torzi is inconsistent, but I think some of that's probably to do with his in-game leader. But even these players are inconsistent, but they're talented. And I'm just like, you just worry about Annihilation against these players.
All right. So to wrap up, Mongolz lost to G2 in the first round, won against Gamer Legion in the second, and then lost to Grayhound, we'll talk about in a moment, and then lost to Monte to finish it out.
Yeah. So
the next set of about 8 teams is going to require considerably longer, deeper dive than we just did. So let's start with the first, which is Gamer Legion. Which is a team that you and I had hyped up low coming into this. We said that they would do well. That's the major. They did well last major. They hadn't made changes. They kind of still looked in the same general ballpark. I heard some people had picked them as their 0-3.
That seemed insane to me.
I heard some people that had picked them as a 3-0, which also was insane to me.
I did that.
Also insane to me. To be fair, I picked FORZE as my 3-0, so...
FORZE are too perfect an underdog, like I said.
But Gamer Legion seem to think that they may make it to the next round. It's going to be close. What I want to talk about with Gamer Legion, though, they lost to Complexity in the first round. They lost to Mongolz. Wait, am I doing my math correctly?
No, you said that. You said Mongolz beat Gamer Legion, so...
Yeah, no, Gamer Legion played in the 2-0. 0-2. Yeah, that was the bit I wanted to talk about. Yeah. Sorry. I saw the other 2-0 match and forgot everything.
Famously, they played in the 0-2.
Famously, they played in the 0-2 against Mouse Sports.
Yeah.
Who somehow made their way down to the 0-2.
Who importantly also got rid of Suhi and Acor way back when.
Yeah, this was the Mouse Academy match right here. And Gamer Legion absolutely shat on Mouse.
Yeah. Suhi's
the deal.
Really good, man. He's really good. I don't understand how he's this good. Like he must be. I don't know. He just reminds me so much of Glaive, like prime Glaive. Like he's so aggressive and he's so like cocksure. Like he's so confident. He'll take every duel and he just wins more than his fair share. Like I don't know how he keeps doing it. And IM as well has like these step up games where he just looks like a star, and he's kind of like their fail safe, but he's really good, man.
And we said this a minute ago, but Acor has looked fantastic.
Oh, Acor's so good. Like it's weird. He's a real confidence player. I think he's a really streaky player, and when he feels in the zone, when he's at home, he wrecks, and when he's off his game, he really shits the bed. And I think Mousy was just uncomfortable so often. Whereas on this team, clearly Suhi is like, you're my guy. I know how good you can be. let's run it back, and he just repays him every time. He reminds me of Oscar, and that he will go on these ridiculous streaks of rounds where he just takes over the entire game, and then he'll go quiet again. And he can be really streaky, he can be really confidence based, but at his peak, he's a tier 1 AWPer.
At his base, that's the question mark is not his peak. It's
He has a bigger variance than some of the other AWPers.
Yeah,
like you rarely see Nork not be like a solid player, but you rarely see him go insane.
Yeah,
Acor can be one of the two.
So not only did Gamer Legion kick out Mouse Sports in the O2 match, they then went today and kicked out OG.
Yeah.
In the 1-2 match.
Yeah, I mean, this is not an easy run for Gamer Legion in the best of threes, and they're just showing that they like teams like Gamer Legion really make the Lurv agreement and the Blast franchising thing look a bit silly, because they take down these like Mouse have played like fucking 30 games all year or something, and Gamer Legion just rock up and they just smash them because they've got more reps, they play more often, and they're just like.
What was the set
that came volatile?
What was the set that came up before the event started? It was like Monty's played 127 maps the last 3 months or something like that.
And Mouse is like 35.
Yeah, it's some ridiculous amount that like they're tripling every other team, and it's not just Monty. It's any of the non-Blast, non-ESL teams that don't think too highly of themselves that are playing in like tier 2 events like Brazy Party and other stuff. Yeah. Actually, Brazy Party is probably the highest of the event that people are playing, but the teams that are playing like the EU equivalent of cash cups.
Yeah. Mouse should just be playing in like CCT and shit. Like they should.
Like CCT, all that shit. They're getting so many reps in. And like, yes, it may be against tier 2 teams, but if you're a tier 1 team, you should just go in and shit on it. It'll be great practice for you.
You will learn some shit by playing against these teams. It might not always be positive. You'll learn some shit playing against these teams, because these teams have to evolve and adapt. Like every team in tier 2 has to try ridiculously hard to improve to get to your level. So they are going to find out shit. They're going to find out all these gimmicks. They're going to watch the best teams in the world and try and take the best bits from them. You will learn stuff by playing against teams like Nine, teams like Monty, teams like Game Legion consistently. And if you're trying to be the best team in the world, which somebody like Mouse with the team they have, that's what they should be trying to do. You can say what you want, that's what they should be trying to do. They should be getting these reps in. They should be playing as much as they fucking can, because they're clearly not there. And if you know you're not the best team in the world, you should be doing everything you fucking can to be there. And that involves playing in these tournaments.
Yeah. No, I truly think that teams should get more reps regardless. But all right, let's move on. Gamer Legion will be playing in a 2-2 match tomorrow against an undisclosed team right now. We don't know who it'll be, so we'll talk about them as we get further in through this. FORZE, my next team on the list, a too perfect underdog, as you stated.
Yeah. If they're everyone's underdog, they're no longer an underdog.
Yeah, and so we got to talk about FORZE in conjunction with the team that they lost to in the first round, which was Grayhound. Yeah. Who, as per usual, said, fuck your pick'ems. We're not going 0-3. In fact, we're going to be in contention for getting through to the legend stage. So both FORZE and Grayhound made their way to the 2-2 match through a roughly similar path.
Well, Grayhound aren't at the 2-2 match yet.
Oh, Grayhound has to play NIP. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, they could still. They beat him. They beat him at Pro League.
FORZE. Okay, then let's back out one quickly. FORZE and Grayhound have made their way to the 2-1 match in very similar fashion, and Grayhound may make their way to the 2-2 match in almost the same fashion, right? So FORZE lost to Grayhound in the opener, then went and beat on Team Liquid in a really, really close nuke game. Like really, really close. It was NAF the best of ones. We'll talk about Team Liquid, but NAF was having a day.
Yeah, not his best.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever seen NAF struggle that much. Actually,
no. They then FORZE then went and beat Monty, and then today lost to FaZe Clan in the 2-1s. So they're sitting in the 2-2 bracket, ready to go. And if there was a team that I could have guessed, if there was a spot I was putting FORZE in that wasn't 3-0, it was the 2-2 matches. It
FORZE beating
seems like the
Monte
right place.
makes so much sense to me because, I see FORZE as sort of in a similar vein as to what I see Big. They're like an anti-meta team where like they're unusual in terms of Russian teams and that they don't like actually have that much firepower. But they're very intelligent FORZE. Like they're very good at punishing mistakes. They're a bit like the old ENCE team, where they didn't actually do anything spectacular, but as soon as you misstepped, they would punish you, and they'd punish you really hard. And that's what FORZE do. That's what Jerry's team do. Like they don't always have these. They're always not always the most creative in terms of coming up with new ways to do things, but they're so disciplined. And Monte, for all the good things they have and they do, they can be a little bit wild and a bit undisciplined. And I think the bigger teams sometimes struggle because they're so used to being given respect. And they think that these teams will have the same disciplines, the same protocols as they do, and they think they can take these gambles, which you just can't against a team like Monte, who they'll just disrespect you. FORZE's issue will always be that, similar to Big, they don't always have the firepower to step up and beat somebody like FaZe, and I think that becomes an issue when anyone on FaZe can step up and take over the game. And you look at FORZE, and you're looking at like Xiaofi, who's up and down, Zorti, who is good, but he's not a superstar. Rezel, I don't think is. He's not a player who can take over a game at that level. Jerry obviously won't. Like, they have interesting players who are very disciplined and do the right things, but they don't have an X factor.
Yeah, it's I don't know. They feel.
When you look at the other Russian teams, they all have an X factor.
They feel like they feel like a 3-2 team or 2-3 team. That's exactly where they feel, and I played the pick'ems with 3-0.
I remember we both agreed they'd be a 2-2 team last week, but I did say they'd play Mouse in a 2-2 game. So
trust me, I have things to say about the 2-2 matches. We will get there. All right, so the other team that they played was Grayhound Gaming, who, as I said fuck your pick'ems, and then immediately got 16-0'd by Apeks.
Yeah, which was amazing.
Which was amazing because you then kind of went into that and thought, you know what, this is the Grayhound of old. They win their opening best of one, and then they're not going to win a single fucking thing after this. And then they got Mongolz in the 1-1 draw and beat Mongolz.
Yeah. You know what? I don't really like the Australian teams that much usually. Like I do usually just want them to lose, but I have to respect Grayhound because they're just. They look like a solid enough team. They got 16-0'd on like the second game, and we just bounced back and we're like, yeah, we don't care. Like they just do not care. They got 16-0'd, and yeah, fuck it. You know what? They've made the tournament better because it's more entertaining for a team who gets 16-0'd to be in. They're just entertaining. Like you don't know what you're about to watch.
I do actually have an interesting fact about Grayhound and the Mongolz, which is that I believe after the first round of matches, it may have been after the second round of matches, somewhere in there, one of the Mongolz players' mice broke.
Oh, he was using the Grayhound mouse.
Yeah, and
right?
They were using the Grayhound player's mice. It was Alistar's mice and his mouse pad, because you could see in the image that it's the floral pattern mouse pad.
I wonder whose mouse he was using for the game against Grayhound.
I'd hope it was a different day, so I'd hope that they found a mouse in Paris. Yeah. But interesting fact ahead of time.
Yeah.
And if Grayhound lost that game, you could then go blame whoever took them out, like borrowed the mouse on Mongolz, for messing with the mouse.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So you win-win. You get to be seen as a good guy, and
you get an excuse. They didn't need one. It'd be cool if they beat NIP.
They play NIP in like an hour or so. Maybe.
Grayhound looked so much better at Melbourne than Complexity. I think I said that on here. Like I kind of expected Complexity to be bad because they were so dog shit in Melbourne, and you can make the excuses about jet lag and all that shit, but
yeah. So
they were dog shit, man.
Messioso actually said something along the lines of like, when their scrims are shit, they play well.
Yeah. The old Mad Lions in League of Legends.
Yeah. When their scrims are like fucking terrible, they just play really, really well on stage. So they were hoping for best scrims, which like that's kind of based.
I don't know. That seems like really unsustainable. Because then if you have bad scrims and you start losing, what's the fix?
There is.
Okay, we'll have good. Like even though you start scrimming well, you still have no confidence it's going to matter.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the next. Apeks. This team is hard to read.
I think they're good. They have like
we said they were going to be.
They have good players. Like JL is just really, really good.
So they 16-12 Liquid, then they 16-0'd Grayhound. But we'll get into Liquid in a second. But the more and more you look at this, I don't know how like where the bar is with those two teams in regards to seeding. Like they probably like hindsight are not as good as we expect. Like Grayhound is better than we expected that they were coming into the tournament, and Liquid is worse than expected. So
I don't know. Liquid are worse because like you feel like they're worse because they lost to Apeks.
Yeah. So they lost to G2 in the 2-0 match, and right now they're winning against Pain. The score is like 5-6. They're losing right now, but they won map 1. There's a really, really solid chance they get through today, and if they don't, there's a really, really solid chance they get through tomorrow.
Yeah, I think they probably will. To be honest, they look like one of the better teams in the 2-2 bracket.
Which is saying a lot because there's some heater teams in here, right? Like,
I feel like if you're talking like Apeks versus FORZE, even though FORZE are probably more disciplined, more organized, I just feel like they don't have a player as good as JL, and I don't think they have the experience even of like,
I don't think Apeks can play FORZE.
Okay, but like even if you're like just comparing them, like I feel like there are a few. I do feel like Apeks are actually pretty stacked. I mean, Jacam's always been good.
Yeah, Jacob's been really, really good
for the most part. He had a period where he wasn't great on FaZe and that.
No, we don't question that time.
Yeah,
that's not that's not real. It can't hurt us.
But like he's always been pretty good. Sticko is, he's been on some very successful teams.
Yeah, he's never going to be never going to be the guy, but he will be the guy behind the guy.
He was sort of the guy on Cloud9.
No, we should never talk about that roster.
But he would like because that was because
I understand.
Mouse, I would kind of always felt like so from the time I started watching, I'd never thought Sticko was good. Like I've watched him a bit, and I was like, okay, you can definitely learn something from watching Sticko because he plays with the tools he has and the roles he plays. He does a good job at certain things, but he's clearly not that good. And then I watched him on Cloud9 where he had a bit more freedom, and I was like, oh no, this guy can actually play. Like he plays these roles because that's what he's good at. But you put him in better roles, he can still play the game. Like he isn't a bad player by any stretch. And I got a newfound respect around that time.
Yes, but on the other hand, do you not remember that Cloud9 roster?
Yeah, but he was the guy on that roster. He was one of the guys. He was better than Zelsis.
Yeah, but is that really a what's our bar there?
Like, you said he's never going to be that guy, and he can be that guy. It's just you've got JL, you've got Jacame, you've got Nork,
all right,
Kicksan as well. Just need to be that guy.
Let's have a long conversation now because we've got two teams in a row that are requiring a little bit deeper dives. Team Liquid.
There's a bit of an overreaction, I think. Well, I think they're better now. I think after day one, the vibes in the camp were not good.
Yeah, so
that's what I've heard.
Let's give the Liquid story. So they came into the major with an HLTV interview. No,
it's so bad, man.
Okay, so let's just remember everyone that does an interview before the major starts is fucking cursed. Okay,
it's usually the HLTV feature piece which is cursed.
Yeah, but weren't they the HLTV feature piece?
No. It was just an interview, and then it was picked up and then they interviewed with Dust 2 as well, and said something very similar. Yekindar said, "Oh, people are going to notice we're playing in a different way," and I think it was Nitro said, "I don't see any way we'll start slow."
Yeah. They did say that. They really did say that.
Look, I will say Yekindar was right. We did notice a different way they were going to play.
We did.
Nitro was not.
So we have another HLT vertical that came out that we'll talk about in a second. But day one, they played against Apeks in the first match. It was not good. It was really not good.
No, it wasn't. No.
It was 16-12 loss. NAF had 7 kills. It went on to Ancient, which was a map that Jacob came out after the fact and said, we left them overpass. There's no fucking shot. It goes to Ancient. And then it went to Ancient. Liquid had the choice of overpass or Ancient and chose Ancient. Okay.
They probably mind game themselves into thinking if they're leaving overpass open.
NAF had his worst map since 2017 Cologne or something like that. It's been years since NAF put up since NAF put up a 0.55 rating.
Yeah, he's normally so consistent.
He's normally the guy, right? I understand that Elysia's, but
Elysia's up and down. It's I've genuinely, I don't think I've ever seen NAF struggle that hard to kill anything. Yeah. He's people don't talk about him as Mr. Consistent, but then you see a map like that and you're like, oh, I don't remember the last time that's ever happened. I've never seen him do that.
I do need to give a little bit of props in some of these because we're going to be talking down on Liquid a lot in the next coming minutes. So I need to give.
They're in the 2-2 bracket after losing 2 best of 1. It's actually not that bad.
It's not that bad, but this game and the next game, there's going to be a lot of. OC had a good game.
Yeah. OC's got hands, man.
OC played well in this game and the Nuke game and the first best of 3 against Fluxo. And I need to put some credit on OC's name because for a while we had said something along the lines of this team needs to switch how they're playing with an Opper. And they've switched their system. And as we'll talk about in a minute, they've actually switched their IGL. Officially, it just came out. DAP said they have officially switched their IGL to a Yekindar and Nitro secondary IGLing specifically on some maps.
Yekindar said basically whoever's feeling it the most in game leads. I heard, I don't know if this is true, I can't verify it, but I heard at 13-12 yesterday on one of the games, I think against Fluxo, Yekindar just basically said, I'm in game leading now, let's do this.
Yeah, so
I don't know if that's true. But
the quote is, so regarding leadership, it was overheard Yekindar say he would lead at some point in the match against Fluxo. There was a rumor about leadership. Is anything that, or is everything normal? Response from Daps. The main reason for it is that we had the 2-week boot camp. Nitro had things he had to deal with, so we couldn't be there for the first 5 or 6 days. We did 3 maps with Daps scrimming in place of him so we could practice, and we made the decision halfway through the boot camp that Yekindar would just call because he has more reps on these maps with the new system that they were doing. We were creating all these things together and stuff, and Yekindar was already secondary calling, so it wasn't a giant shift. So for this tournament, Yekindar is IGL and Nitro is secondary IGL. Response from the interviewer, so it wasn't a Captain Phillips situation. Daps response, no, it wasn't like that. Not a takeover. It had nothing to do with Nitro. Just the situation presented itself, and we felt that it made more sense. Which kind of seems reasonable. If
Yekindar's calling that much, you don't need Nitro. That's my take.
We'll see where it goes.
Although, I mean, this rumor seems to exist every year, but there's a rumor Elige might be leaving Liquid. I don't know if that's true either, but
I feel like that rumor is constant and continuous.
Yeah, exactly. So I just don't believe it anymore. But again, that rumor has reared its head.
Okay, so Liquid lost to Apeks in the opener. Okay, fine. I mean, not okay, but okay.
It happens. Apeks are a good team.
Then they went to go play against FORZE on Nuke. And this map was insanely close. We saw NAF remember how to play Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
But Zorti was one of the best players I've ever fucking seen. He went 31-13 on Nuke.
Yeah, I mean, again, it happens. FORZE are a good team. They punish mistakes very hard. If you're playing a new system and you're not 100% sure where everyone has to be at every point in time, FORZE will punish you, Zorti will punish you. Like, it happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
The margins are so fine at this at this level of play. Like, that's the thing. Like, you don't get room to make a single mistake, and when you're trying something new, you're going to make mistakes.
Yeah. And then yesterday, I had a heart attack because
So this is actually the most worrying result. It's the win against Fluxo.
It's the win against Fluxo.
That's the most worrying result of them all.
Because Fluxo ended up going at 3-0, was absolutely decimated round 1 by Pain, was absolutely decimated round 2 by Monte, and then took a map off Liquid and made it really fucking close. So Fluxo actually won Nuke with a winning CT side, winning T side, if I remember correctly, if I'm doing my math right.
I think I was at the gym for the start of that game, so I don't remember.
I'm fairly certain they won their. Here we go. Stats. They lost their T side by 1 round, which is a winning T side on Nuke.
Yeah. I mean, Nuke's not as T-side as it used to be. CT side as it used to be.
Yeah, but it's not 8-7 CT sided.
Yeah. It's like 6-9.
Yeah. So that was the first worry, and it was odd that Liquid kind of let Nuke through after they had lost to FORZE the prior day on. But like, I kind of get it. If you're going for it, just keep going for it. Liquid then played Inferno. And looked like Na'Vi, but not in a good way. They did the thing that Na'Vi does, where we had about a year ago, we called out Na'Vi with like their main problem was clock management. That they would hit a site with like 15 seconds left, and their whole hope was you have to win all your duels and get the bomb down.
Yeah,
is that you had no advantage, no knowledge, and they just said, okay, we have simple electronic bit, we're just gonna fucking take the site. And Liquid was doing a lot of that on Inferno.
Well, you have to remember, if Yakindar is calling, where did he learn to play the game?
Yes.
We're going to try a new system. Yakindar's calling. The guy who was on Virtus Pro. I wonder what style it's going to be.
Liquid won this map, 16-14.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if winning is a real word I can use to describe what that performance was.
They won the map. They're still alive. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
And then they won Ancient, which was 16-13, which is a little less.
Just about, yeah. That's it wasn't the cleanest win of all time.
No,
but it gets the gears started again. That's what really matters. And also, Fluxo aren't that bad. They're not great, but they're not that bad. It's not like. I don't know. It's not like they lost to somebody you've never heard of. They've got Phelps and Lucalzi. Like, as bad as people think this team is, like, how bad can they really be with Phelps and Lucalzi and VSM? Like, come on, they're not that bad.
I worry. And then this morning, finishing about an hour before this, I think we just totally skipped Complexity by accident.
I thought they were the other team you were going to mention here, to be honest.
No, I'm just going down the list of matches. No, we fucking skipped Complexity.
I thought they were the last team we hadn't talked about.
No, Complexity just kind of floundered.
They're just bad. Like I said it after Melbourne, like they were awful in Melbourne. They can't have. There was no way they were going to be good.
We'll talk about them in a second because I want to give a little bit further run on that than this. But Liquid 2-0 Complexity this morning, and it wasn't just a 2-0. It was they bodied them on Anubis, and then they won 15 round CT side overpass.
Yeah, I was very gutted they didn't get the 16.
The only reason
they had two 16-0s in the same major would have been gas.
The only reason they didn't win is because they lost the pistol, the conversion, and then the first gun.
Yeah, and they won like 16-3, right? So,
yeah,
boring, very boring.
But still, like either way, ridiculous. Right, this is the performance
they just smashed
them. Like this is what I expected against Fluxo. This is what I expected. Maybe not against FORZE. Actually, definitely not against FORZE. But this is what I expected against Complexity. So Liquid will play in a 2-2 match tomorrow, which I'm going to be honest feels about right for them. I just didn't expect them to go 0-1, 0-2, 2-1-2, 2-2. I expected them to go like 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, or the flip of that.
I don't know if you remember this little tournament in Boston in 2018. 2018?
Yes.
Cloud9 started the tournament going 0-2. And I don't know if you remember what happened to them. They won the final over FaZe Clan 2-1. That's all I'm saying. Going 0-2 doesn't mean anything. I mean, Cloud9 went 0-2 in like the challenge stage in Rio, and then went 3-0 in the Legends stage after recovering.
You'd hope that I remember that, right? Not only just because I'm a North American fan, but because this podcast is literally named about
Overtime on Inferno,
about like the moment that Cloud9 won that major.
It's just you were getting very very melancholy about going 0-2.
Here's the thing.
I thought you needed
in 2018, I would have done the same fucking thing.
Exactly. And how wrong would you have been? It's time. Liquid are winning the major.
God, fuck me. All right. Ninjas in pajamas.
Ninjas in pajamas. Yeah, I don't know. I still don't know. I came in not knowing. I still don't know. They're better than OG.
Yeah, so they won against Mouse Sports, who went out 0-3. Let's do our quick Mouse Sports thing before we go into Nip. They fucking suck. Okay, thank you. Let's continue.
We already did Mouse Sports. It's fine.
Yeah, they fucking suck. They went out 0-3. So Nip, 69 Mouse. Then they lost to ENCE 69. Then they won against OG in overtime.
I still have absolutely no idea how good NIP are. I know these are all best of ones, but like lose to ENCE, expected that. Beat Mouse were 0-3, looked awful. Yeah, fine. Beat OG looked awful.
They're somewhere between Mouse and ENCE. The 0-3 team and the 3-0 team. No clue.
Do they look awful because NIP are genuinely good and just made them look silly? Do they look awful because they lost to NIP and NIP aren't good? Or do ENCE look like, are ENCE really good because they beat NIP? Or do ENCE just look good because they beat NIP? I have no idea. If they beat Grayhound 2-0, I'll still have no idea if they're any good.
No,
they're probably decent. To be honest, they're probably better than I originally thought.
I think I put them as a 1-3 team, but they very easily could have been a 2-2.
Yeah, I always thought 1-3 was probably a bit much. They could quite easily be 3-1 in 2 hours time.
Yeah, nah, I think they lose Greyhound.
I just don't think they will. They've looked more reliable than the Flounderers.
OG next on my list.
Awful.
Yeah, they just looked fucking terrible. They lost to
I don't know, man. They choked a massive lead against NIP. So they really should have won Mirage. Like there was a round at 14-12 where Dexter misses 5 AWP shots in a row that he just doesn't miss normally. And then
you said Dexter. I just said Dexter.
Yeah, I know Dexter. And then they got battered by Game Legion, and it's like they've got such a soft underbelly.
This team was DOA. I honestly and truly think that this team was DOA. For those of you who are not native English speakers, that's dead on arrival.
They're normally okay.
So here's the thing, right? Nexa benching himself and basically saying he's not playing and then bringing Nico in. I never thought that was a long-term fix. I always expected they were going to change something. But that was the bit is that was 2 months ago and it was right before the RMRs and they needed Nico to play in the RMRs. And so they had to play this through with Nico. I don't think that this roster will continue to be the same in a month and a half. I think that they're going to make changes at least on that role. Or at least on one of the roles to bring in a more experienced IGL.
I don't have an issue with Nico in-game leading. I think they should, however, give Flames a more prominent role in the team. That's my take on OG. Actually, that's not my take on OG. That's Harry's take on OG that I'm bastardizing because he said it to me and I watched him and I was like, actually, you know what? He's right. Flames is really good. And he's probably better than Neofrag, even if Neofrag gets to bait him all the time.
All right, and then the last team on this list is ENCE, who 3-0'd and stomped, and
ENCE are really good.
and ENCE just thrive in this.
ENCE, I don't think have they dropped a map since they went 0-2 in the RMR. Did they go 0-2 in the RMR? Am I remembering right? I think they did. And then they had to beat Cloud9 to qualify. I'm pretty sure they did. They lost to Monte and somebody else. Went 0-2 and then have won every best of... They won all the best... Okay, they've dropped maps because it was 2-1 against Cloud9.
Well, but they
won 3 best of 3s in a row and they've now won 2 best of 1s and a best of 3 at this event.
Well, they lost 2-0 to Astralis at Brazy Party.
I don't give a shit about Brady Party. It's online, isn't that?
Yeah. No, they
did you see Nerds at Brazy Party? Because I didn't.
2-0 Die Nation, 2-0 500, 2-0 Cloud9, 16-6 OG, 16-9 NIP, 2-1 FaZe.
Yeah, so they've dropped 1 map since going 0-2. Yeah. They're cooking. That team is... It's really easy to root for ENCE as well. There's nobody on that team who is dislikable. They're all... they all seem very happy to be there. They're all really fucking good. I've watched Nerds on Endpoint, and I thought he was decent, but I didn't think he was this good.
Yeah.
He's really good. And then Sun Pius is just Sun Pius is simple level on the CT side. He's just nowhere near simple level on the T side. Seriously, he actually is. He's actually... If the game was if he could play CT for 30 rounds a game, he'd be one of the best players in the world. He'd be top 5 in the world. He's the top 5 CT player, but he's also ran on the T side.
All right, so let's talk about the 2-2 matches, and then we have 1 or 2 pieces of news I want to cover at the end. So let's pretend that the 2-1 matches are over. I personally think that Apeks will win against Pain, so I'm gonna, in the little major match calculator thing, slot in Apeks over Pain. And then, as much as I like Grayhound to win, I'm gonna slot
NIP are going to win, aren't they?
Yeah,
unfortunately.
So that leaves us tomorrow with 3 actually really interesting matches. So the first match will be Pain and Monte, which is a banger.
Ooh, that's hard. That's a difficult one to pick.
That's a banger right there, man.
Let
it be known right now, though, that Pain are winning their second map, 11-7. So it may not be a lock.
Yeah, but
but it actually doesn't matter. So it's the loser of Apeks Pain, assuming Nip win, will play Monte. So Apeks plays Monte. Wait,
probably.
Yeah, Apeks plays Monte or Pain play Monte.
Assuming NIP win.
Assuming NIP win, yeah. I think I take Monte, but I don't.
I think I take either Apeks or Pain. I think I do.
I think my order is Apeks, Monte, Pain.
I think mine's Apeks, Pain, Monte.
Although it would ruin my pick'ems if Monte don't win here.
Yeah, I think it would ruin a lot of people. A lot of people are pretty high on the Monte.
Yeah. All right, the next game, FORZE against Gamer Legion.
God, that's tough as well. I think Gamer Legion are better than FORZE.
I think so.
I think they are.
It's literally the Suhi factor for me.
Yeah,
is literally the Suhi factor. That's all it is.
I just don't think. I think Gamer Legion are disciplined enough, and I don't know. I was gonna say I think Acor can take over, but Zorti's also shown that he can do the same thing, and it's Acor versus Zorti. I think Acor's probably slightly better, but it's not by much. And then it's I don't know. It's tough. I think Gamer Legion are better. I'll say that.
Okay. And then the last one here. The last one here is Grayhound versus Team Liquid.
Yeah, I mean Team Liquid just win it.
Team Liquid should win that.
Unfortunately, it's boring, but I hope it's not Team Liquid Team Liquid Grayhound. I hope Team Liquid get a harder draw.
So there's possibilities, right? So assuming Apeks win, if Grayhound actually does win, they play against Nip, which
interesting. Team Liquid Nip for a spot that's more interesting. Now I can get on board with.
If Pain win, So there is a world here. Wait, oh, I fucked that up. Hold on, I fucked something. Okay, there's a world here that Liquid could play Monte if Pain win and Grayhound win, but that seems like the least likely world to me.
I want to see that though. I want to see Team Liquid. Like, if you get in the 2-2, get like, can you imagine? It's one of the worst draws possible, is having to play against Monty in a 2-2 game for qualification.
No, here's the thing though.
Miserable.
I agree. I will be rooting for Greyhounds throughout this afternoon because I cannot imagine a more 2-2 game than NIP and Team Liquid.
I would say Apeks versus FORZE is probably the most 2-2 game I've ever heard.
We can't get that one though. So
yeah, fine. Yeah, fine. Apeks Monty's pretty 2-2.
Mouse 4 seemed like a pretty good 2-2 game, but Liquid NIP is a pretty good 2-2 game too.
Yeah. I feel like Liquid should just be a 3-1 team in every.
You say should. We say should every time, and then they disappoint us. Welcome to North America.
But they should just be a 3. Like, they shouldn't be a very 2-2 team. They should be a 3-1 team every time. They should never be here.
All right.
They should go 2-0 in every pretty much any group they're in. They should go 2-0, lose to FaZe, and then just beat whoever they fall down to. That should just be how Liquid do it.
Yeah,
they never do.
All right, we have some smaller bits to talk about. Where do we want to start? So let's start with this Counter-Strike record numbers before the release of Counter-Strike 2.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's probably linked.
Yeah, almost certainly linked. The next bit I want to talk about is the 7-man roster of Eternal Fire. So it's not actually 7 people, but they brought Woxic back because they I say this in the best way. They have a very incestuous pool of talent.
They have the 6 players in Turkey.
No, I think it's the second 7 players in Turkey, but it's like,
yeah, it's like, well, I saw a Major tweet. He was like, it feels like we have the right numbers. We just got to put it, like, it's like a combination thing. Like, we have to find the right mixture. We have to find the right order. And I'm just like, no, I just don't think you have the right numbers.
No, like, straight up, there's 8 players in Turkey, right? It's Xantares, Calyx, Major, Okadia, Woxic, Emor, Xfloud, and Paz.
There's Soulfly, but
okay. But out of those 8 players, there are 7 right now that are either starting or benched for Eternal Fire.
Yeah, and they just change it around all the time, and then wonder why nothing changes. It's, that old definition of insanity lie.
It's like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, it's so sad seeing Xantares like restrained to this because he should have been so good.
Yeah,
and he's just going to be stuck in purgatory forever.
2 more bits. These both being related to French, not France, but French, because that's how English works.
The first, you say the French, and you meant to then spit into a bucket after you say it.
I don't have a bucket near me, otherwise I would. Kenny S will not be continuing with Falcons as an opper. Kind of expected. He's going to be a content creator. They're keeping, what was it, Masuta and NBK, I think it is.
And one more. I can't remember. There's one more. Haji's left as well, right?
But, yeah, Python was removed as the other person.
Yeah, I think. Body. Is it Body?
Body, Masuta, NBK. That's what it is. Haji hasn't been on this lineup for a bit.
Yeah, it's a shame. Haji's good. I think Haji's actually quite good. But
yeah, he's currently playing for Looking for Org.
The Australian team.
No, it's the number 4. And this is this roster. It's the former Heat roster.
Okay, I think Haji's actually very good.
Yeah, so do I.
But he clearly isn't. His face doesn't fit the profile for Falcons for whatever reason. Yeah,
but the 2 bits here that are important is this was supposed to happen either way. Falcons basically came out and was like, yeah, this is, and Kenny S came out and like, yeah, this is going to happen. Like, maybe I had to move to content creator. Like, this was just my last dance kind of thing. But the important bit that they write in this is we will be temporarily stepping back from matches and competitions as we evaluate replacement for the 2 positions and move to an English speaking roster, which means they're adding 2 non-French players. So Falcons will be going international. That's the only
Yeah,
bit
I
have
think
on
the
that.
organization is
Saudi.
Saudi Arabian, right? Yeah. So they aren't as tied to the idea of being friend to somebody like Heat is, for example.
Yep. We'll see how they go there. And then the other bit is that Shox has stepped away from Nakama, which was his project that he self-funded, and
The
then
most doomed
decided
roster of all time.
the Smiths, the roster with Smiths, which was 3 young-ish talents, and then
One of whom
Shox
wasn't young at all.
Yeah.
And then Smiths, who's been bad since he was good.
Yep. Which was a thing. So yeah, that's where we sit currently. I don't think there's any other news for us to talk about. We will be back again on Wednesday-ish next week.
I don't know how or when, or we'll figure it out. But
we'll be back again next week, hopefully with continued coverage of the major. We will see you folks next week. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at ReedTLDR, at LoganRef, and at AZS. Goodbye.